is the Icon, and we are concluding this weekend's WrestleMania extravaganza with WrestleMania Night 2. And man, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm not even gonna lie. I uploaded so many videos on my YouTube channel in the last 24, 48 hours, and then between doing WrestleMania and doing the DC TV and the Marvel reviews, like you could hear it in my voice, like I am physically done. So we got one more video to go, and let's kick it off and talk about Night 1 of WrestleMania. You know, I do have to. I mean, well, Night 2 of WrestleMania, and I do have to say, Night 2 of WrestleMania, it was decent. It was a good show, but Night 1 was definitely better. You know, like it was definitely, I thought Night 1 was a better show, but we'll get into that more in the end. But for right now, let's just go through all the matches and talk about Night 2 of the most stupendous WrestleMania of all time. So the first match was the Raw Tag Team Championship match between RK Bro, the Street Profits, and the Alpha Academy. And, you know, I feel bad for the Street Profits because the Street Profits were on top. Like, they had the SmackDown and Raw Championships for, like, a year, you know, like a year and some change. And it just seems like lately, like they always get in the big matches, but they can never, like, you know, break through and like get out of the gate. You know, they came out, they had a good entrance, you know, like RKO had a decent entrance. Like everybody's entrance was just like, okay, like nothing like over the top, you know, like over the top happened. The show actually started with Triple H. He came out and gave, like, you know, he addressed the fans because, as we all know, like he's, you know, he's officially retired from in-ring competition, you know, but, and then he said what's up to Gable Stevens, the Olympic gold medal winner. And, you know, I thought that was, I was like, that was cool, but it was like, it was kind of weird at the same time, you know, so I thought maybe he was going to do something, you know, then we find out what happened later. So at the end of the match, you know, due to an RKO from, you know, from Chad, you know, on to Chad Gable from Randy Orton, RK Bro actually picks up the victory, and they retain the Raw Tag Team Championships. And, you know, I'm a little disappointed in that because not because the Street Profits didn't win. I mean, Ford or Dawkins didn't get the pin, so the two of them will have the opportunity to, I guess, wrestle for the titles later because they weren't the ones that got pinned. But, you know, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm waiting for Orton to turn on Matt Riddle. Like, it's like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with RK Bro. I don't care about them, to be honest with you. Like, it doesn't entertain me at all, but I watch it. I'm literally just waiting for the moment where Randy Orton just turns on Riddle. But maybe we'll get a situation where Riddle is the one that ends up turning on Orton, and that'll be interesting, and that'll be different. You know, and like maybe Riddle will be the heel. I don't know, but like I said, we'll see what happens. But RK Bro retains the Raw Tag Team Championships. Then in the post-credit scene, the Street Profits actually came back into the ring to congratulate RK Bro. They even wanted to share their sippy cup beverages with them. And then they saw Gable Stevens in the crowd, and they called Gable over. They were just like, hey, you know, why don't you come over, you know, say, you know, like have a drink with us. So he ends up, you know, he comes in the ring, he has the beverage. The five of them are about to, you know, drink out of the sippy cups, whatever. And then Chad comes back in and he knocks the cup out of Stevenson's hand. And then when he knocked the cup out of his hand, I was like, oh shit. It's about to go down. And then Stevenson, you know, he, you know, took off his shirt. And then, you know, like Gable was just like, oh, what are you gonna do? He told him to shoosh. And then, you know, Stevenson's grabbed him. He grabbed him and then threw him over for the belly to belly, and then got him up in the belly to belly and put him down, put Chad down. So I'm looking forward to this kid. I mean, I would like to see him on NXT because I think he would do really good on NXT. But because of his background and all of his accolades, I wouldn't be mad if he got called up right away either. And I would prefer that more than like Dominic Mysterio. So we'll see what happens. Like maybe he'll debut on Raw because he's been here all weekend. So like I said, you know, congrats to RK Bro. And we'll see what Stevens has in store for us, you know, this coming Monday on Raw. And hopefully it'll be a good one and we can all enjoy it. Now, the next match was one of the few matches. There's only two matches on the card I was really looking forward to, and this was one of them. The almighty Bobby Lashley versus Omos. Good match, bad build. I kind of wish, I mean, I don't have a problem with how it turned out. I just honestly wish that the match would have taken place later down the line when there was like a proper story and a proper build, because you could have put the belt on Omos and then had Lashley come and challenge him, and then that would have been, you know, but to have this particular match, I took it because I was like, hey, having Omos versus Lashley, that's still, you know, like that's still a good match on any card, because Omos is the only as big as Bobby Lashley is, Omos is the only person that makes Bobby Lashley look small. And you know, he fought him, you know what I'm saying? Like Lashley tried the hurt lock, it didn't work, but he got him up for that suplex. Like when he lifted him up, he got his big behind up for that suplex, and then he gave him a spear to the back, and then he gave him another spear to the front, and then the almighty Bobby Lashley, no MVP, puts Omos down for the count and ends his undefeated streak 1, 2, 3, and I'm down for that. Like, you know, this was one of the highlights of night 2 for me. And where does Lashley go from here? I mean, he's still, you know, he's still owed a rematch because he was never beat for the WWE Championship, and because of how the final match of the night ended, maybe Lashley can now step in, because he seems to be a face now because, you know, like I said, no MVP, the fans cheered for him, he was fighting Omos, so he appears to be a face now, so maybe he can be that face that can go after the WWE Championship. I'd definitely love to see that. But like I said, kudos to the almighty, respect the almighty Bobby Lashley, and we're moving on to the next match. Okay, so for this next match, there's really nothing to say about it. It was the Sami Zayn Johnny Knoxville match. I mean, it was the sports entertainment match, you know, like of the night, and it was a gimmick match. It was, you know, it was for the kids. You know, like the whole match was basically a live action version of Home Alone. There were booby traps set all over the place, you know, kicking in the nuts, bowling balls, hands to the face, and mouse traps set up on, glued to tables. And I mean, like, it was just silly. Like, there was really no point in it. The entire Jackass crew jumped Sami Zayn. So, I mean, at least it didn't come across as like, oh, a celebrity came into the wrestling world and beat one of the professional wrestlers. The guy basically used every trick in the book, including his entire crew. So, yeah, in the end, after they got him trapped in a life-size mouse trap, Johnny Knoxville defeated Sami Zayn, and I said there's really nothing more to say about that. Next up was the second match that I was looking forward to this whole night. The women's fatal four-way tag for the women's tag team championships. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler and Natalya versus Queen Zelina and Carmella versus Boss and Glow. And I will have to, it was a good match. Like, it was definitely a good match, and I definitely enjoyed the match. I will have to say, though, it would have been better if it was just Carmella and Zelina versus Boss and Glow straight up. But because it is WrestleMania, you know, they got to get as much star power on the card as possible, so I don't have a problem with that. You know, like, Liv Morgan definitely did her thing in the match. Zelina did, Zelina did her thing. But, I mean, but the thing is, Sasha and Naomi, their chemistry as a tag team is dope. Like, I like, you know, the quick tags. I like the high flying moves, the technical stuff into the high flying moves, and their finisher, you know, like the face plant into the rolling, like knees to the face. So it's, yeah, but that's how they won. You know, like, that's how they picked up the victory. And then, you know, when they came out, Sasha came out with the Lamborghini or whatever, and they rode to the ring. They even did the fist bump for the unity. And, you know, like, I'm down for that. I'm happy to see a tag run between these two. Congrats to the Boss and Glow connection, and we'll see what happens. Like, it would be dope if Bayley comes back, obviously as a heel, and brings Cameron, you know, Naomi's old tag partner, brings Cameron back as a heel as well, and the two of them team up to try to take down Boss and Glow. Like, that would be dope. But like I said, congrats to my girls. You know, like, the two of them got the tag belts. Bianca got the women's title. That black girl magic, and we move it on, baby. So Edge is Dracula now, and he's starting the Brood 2.0. The next matchup was Edge versus the phenomenal AJ Styles. AJ Styles came to the ring already bleeding. I'm not sure how that happened. Edge came out of the floor on some Brood shit, and like I said, Edge is basically Dracula now. It's almost like now that the Undertaker's officially gone, Edge is trying to step into that role. And the two of them had a wrestling match. They had a damn good wrestling match. It wasn't Seth Rollins and Cody, but it was still a damn good wrestling match. But towards the end, AJ was going for the phenomenal forearm off the top rope, and then Damian Priest just came out of nowhere and was standing there. And it actually made perfect sense now. While Edge was doing the whole Dracula thing, while he was doing the whole, like, Demon Priest thing, having him and Damian Priest together makes perfect sense. And Damian Priest, although he didn't touch AJ Styles, he distracted him long enough, you know, for Edge to kind of recover. And then when AJ came off the top rope for the phenomenal forearm, Edge hit the spear, put AJ on his ass, and got the 1, 2, 3. And now Edge and Damian Priest are a faction. They're a team now. They're the Brood 2.0, and all they're missing now is one more member, but Christian's not around, so maybe they can get Veer when Veer finally debuts. I'm not opposed to this. The AJ Styles Edge feud will probably continue a little bit longer, but I'm not opposed to this. I am very intrigued by this. I'm extremely intrigued by this, and I definitely would like to see where this goes moving forward. So I will be glued to Monday Night Raw and see where the Brood 2.0 takes things from here. I forgot all about this damn match. The Sheamus Rich Holland match between Xavier Woods and Kofi, I honestly didn't care. Like, I hate their gimmick. The whole Sheamus Rich Holland Butch thing. I hate the gimmick. I hate the gimmick for Pete Dunne. He looks like he stands outside of barber shops and asks somebody if he wants to shine their shoes. Like, he looks like he stands on the street corner and passes out newspapers for a quarter. And it's dumb. It's dumb. And it's sad too, because the New Day came out dressed like Big E. They had on Big E inspired attire, and they even showed the footage of how Big E broke his neck. So to bring up the Big E thing with him breaking his neck, and to have the New Day come out and honor him and try to, like, you know, show support for him and for the fans to be into it as well, it was very disappointing that the New Day lost this match. The match was very quick. You know, it was supposed to happen yet on night 1, then ended up on night 2. But I said it was just very bad. And nobody cares about Rich Holland, Sheamus, or Butch. So hopefully on SmackDown, the New Day can get their revenge, and we can move on from this. And hopefully at some point, Butch will go back to being the bruiserweight, because like I said, this gimmick is just really bad. So up next was Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. And here comes the sports entertainment portion of the evening. Vince McMahon showed up. And as soon as Vince showed up, I said, uh-oh, I already know what's about to happen. Because during the Austin Kevin Owens saga, first, you know, the rumors, we all heard the rumors and everything, that first the two of them were supposed to have a match. And then it turned into having a KO show thing. Then they were supposed to have like a confrontational brawl. And then when the actual day arrived, we ended up getting everything. They had the Kevin Owens show, which turned into a match. So we actually did get the Austin one-on-one match versus Kevin Owens that we wanted. Now, regarding the Vince McMahon situation, it was said in the beginning, it was supposed to be Vince McMahon versus Pat McAfee. That was the match that we were supposed to get. And then it changed because nobody wanted to see his 80-year-old ass in the ring. It changed to Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. But when Vince McMahon came out of the ring, he came out of the curtain and went down to ringside, and he sat at ringside and watched the Austin Theory McAfee match. We ended up getting both because we got Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee, and that was good. That was a good match. Like, Pat McAfee did this one thing where both of them were on the top rope, and then Austin Theory tried to like push him or like knock him off the top rope, and Pat McAfee did a backflip, and he stuck that landing. Like, he would have made any gymnast, any Olympic gymnast, like jealous the way he stuck that landing. And then he pulled the Shelton Benjamin, and then he jumped and leaped onto the top rope, and then he suplexed him. But Pat McAfee ended up getting the victory over Austin Theory. And now, after Vince McMahon felt upset because he basically endorsed Austin Theory or whatever, Pat McAfee was talking trash to Vince McMahon, and then Vince McMahon decided to get his 80-year-old ass in the ring, and we had a match between Pat McAfee and Vince McMahon. And I'm like, okay, so we basically got everything. Like, we did get the match after all. And, you know, it was funny because when Vince came out, he had the suit on and everything. He came out, he was walking and looking like Mr. Burns. I mean, the man's in his 80s, so what do you expect? But when he took the jacket off, he kind of looked like the Vince of old, you know, like then he stood up straight, and then he was looking all jacked and everything, and, you know, not for nothing, people were chanting, "You still got it." So him and McAfee had their little match, and then, of course, you know, there was some cheating going on. There's a lot of cheating going on with Theory getting involved, and then in the end, Vince McMahon beat Pat McAfee, and then Vince McMahon celebrated, and then he brought Austin Theory in the ring, and Pat McAfee was on the floor, and then, you know, when Vince told Austin Theory to celebrate with him, and he told him to go onto the top rope and, you know, pose in front of the crowd, I didn't really think anything of it. But when Austin Theory did it on all four corners, I was like, Austin's about to come out, isn't he? And then Vince blew it because Vince kind of blew that moment, because after Theory did all four corners and then Theory came down, his theme music played. And when his theme music played, if you look at Vince McMahon, Vince kind of looks shocked, like, uh-oh, you know, like, and then he realized it was Theory's music, and then he was just like, oh, yeah, let's celebrate. And I was like, see, you messed up because you thought Austin's music was going to hit. I was like, yeah, Austin's coming. And then once the two of them, like, raised their arms and celebrated, here came Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the place pretty much went bananas, and that was cool. We got the Vince McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin stare down, and then, you know, then Stone Cold and Vince, they talked a little bit, and then they were just like, oh, let's let bygones be bygones. Let's have a beer, you know, like, let's have a beer, you son of a bitch. And then as soon as he gave him the beer, and as soon as they were drinking the beer, I was just like, I was like, I understand Vince is old, but why would you fall for this? I was like, why would you fall for this? The two of them drunk the beer. Austin kicked McMahon in the stomach, and because he's 80 years old, he stumbled back, and he missed the stunner. He missed the stunner, but then when Vince stumbled back and bounced off of the ropes and then came back, Austin basically just walked up to him and grabbed him and stunned him. And, you know, then he knocked him onto the floor and everything, and then, you know, the crowd started cheering, and then Austin was drinking more beer. Austin told Pat McAfee to come back into the ring. McAfee came back into the ring. McAfee and Austin had a beer, like they had a beer, and I'm just like, why would you fall for this again? Like, and then when McAfee and Austin were drinking beers, then Stone Cold, like, he stunned Pat McAfee, and Austin was dying laughing. Like, the look on Austin's face was priceless. But he stunned McAfee. McAfee fell outside, and then Stone Cold, you know, like, he pandered to the crowd. And then even though Pat McAfee got stunned, he was still drinking the beer, because for him it was like, wow, I got stunned by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin stunned Byron Saxton. You know, they must think Byron Saxton is the coach. You know, and then I said, then after that, you know, Stone Cold got his whole thing, and then he walked away. So this was definitely the sports entertainment portion of the evening. You know, it was cool to see Vince out there, and the fact that Vince picked up a W, you know, like, I thought that was very entertaining. Like I said, we got the Vince McMahon, Pat McAfee match. You know, we got, you know, Pat McAfee picked up a win. He came out with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. You know, Stone Cold came out one more time. Undertaker came out earlier. He came out early to get his acknowledgement from the crowd. You know, so like I said, it was a fun segment. I'm like, these are the things that you really can't take that seriously. I mean, there are certain things in wrestling where it's just like, you don't want the goofy shit, you don't want the dumb stuff, you just want the serious, you know, like mano-y-mano, you know, like wrestling. But these are the moments where the entertainment portion comes in, and it's okay, because like I said, to see all the different moving parts, we had like 5 matches and like in this whole segment. Like I said, and it turned out to be a good one, and like I said, I enjoyed it. Kudos to Pat McAfee. Kudos to Vince McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the only person that really loses in all this is Austin Theory, but he got to shine on like the biggest stage and the bright lights, so that was good for him too. And hopefully Vince will never get in the ring again, and we could all move on from this fiasco. And finally, the so-called main event of the evening was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar to unify both WWE and Universal Championships. And I'm completely done with Roman Reigns, and I don't care about Roman Reigns anymore. Like, Roman Reigns is the Charlotte Flair of like of the men's division, and you know, it's unfortunate because like the 2 matches on the card that I honestly truly gave the least amount of care towards was the Charlotte Ronda match and the Brock Roman match. And it was very disappointing that Charlotte won her match. And then to make things worse, Roman Reigns won his match, and he won his match clean and beat Brock Lesnar straight up. So now it's just like I'm sick of looking at him at this point. And to make it worse, you know, they unified the championships. And the biggest problem that I have with the unification of the championships is because Roman Reigns is basically holding on to the championship for dear life, and he's not allowing anyone else to have an opportunity at the championship. As annoying as it was, you know, I was always like, well, at least we have the WWE Championship, so I can just ignore everything that Roman Reigns is doing, and I can focus on the title picture on Raw, and that'll be my heavyweight championship representation. But now the son of a bitch has both titles, and now he's gonna like hold on to both titles for all eternity. And Charlotte Flair's never gonna let go of the SmackDown Women's Championship, and it's just very annoying. You know, it's like these are the people that refuse to do the right thing. They refuse to, you know, like put anybody else over or give anybody else an opportunity to become a big star, because they just want to they want to guard the castle, you know, like the entrance to the castle for all, you know, like for all it's worth. And I just pray to God that at this point, now that Roman, like I'm holding out hope that they don't unify the titles. I'm hoping that Roman still continues to walk around with both belts, because as long as he has both belts, there's always the opportunity for him to lose one of them. And I'm hoping that Bobby Lashley on Raw comes out and challenges Roman for the WWE title, because Bobby never lost the WWE title because of the whole concussion thing with the Elimination Chamber. And if Lashley can get the WWE Championship off of Roman Reigns, then I'll be very happy about that, and happy to see Bobby Lashley be the WWE Champion on Raw. And then Roman can go back to SmackDown, and him and Brock Lesnar can fight each other for all eternity, because they're never going to let anybody else in that title picture. So that was yeah, that was it. I mean, the whole thing with Charlotte on SmackDown, it's like I can't even say, you know, thank God, you know, hopefully Sasha can take the belt from, you know, from Charlotte, because Sasha's in the tag division now. So I don't know, Naomi's in the tag division now. So unless an NXT female call up happens to challenge Charlotte, you know, I said, so, like, when it comes to the WWE, when it comes to the Universal Championship and it comes to the Women's Championship on SmackDown, I truly don't care. So I'll be focusing my attention more on the Raw brand going forward. So that was it. That was my review for WrestleMania Night 2, WrestleMania 38. Thank you for tuning in. And this is interesting. I'm super excited about the Raw and SmackDown coming out of this show. I'm super excited about NXT, you know, coming after the show. I want to see the fallout. I want to see where everything goes, and I'm definitely going to be glued, and I'm definitely going to be looking forward to it. But leave your comments below. Let me know what you thought about, you know, like both nights of WrestleMania. What was your favorite match? You know, which night was better? For me, night 1 was better than night 2. My favorite match of both nights, the match of WrestleMania, the match of two-night WrestleMania, was Bianca versus Becky Lynch. The second match had to be Cody versus Seth Rollins for me. So those are the two matches that I'm excited for. Love the Lashley match, like the women's tag, and those are probably the matches that I can go back and watch like over and over again. A lot of other stuff, like, I really don't care. So please share your thoughts below. Thank you for tuning in as always. Hit me up on Twitter and Instagram. Check out all my videos on YouTube, all the superhero videos. We got Moon Knight, you know, we got Superman and Lois, Naomi, The Flash, we got Young Justice, and everything else in between. Thanks for tuning in, guys. So signing off for this year's WrestleMania. I will see you in Los Angeles for that WrestleMania 2023. And until then, as always, I'm out this